Zootopia, a gleaming city where animals of all breeds, predator and prey alike, live together in peace and harmony.
Hi, I'm Judy, your new neighbor.
Yeah? Well, we're loud.
Don't expect us to apologize for it.
ZPD's first rabbit officer, Judy Hopps.
You ready to make the world a better place?
Alright everybody, it's time for another Ink and Paint Club movie review. This week we're going to be tackling Disney's new theatrical film, Zootopia, which I don't know about you guys, but I thoroughly enjoyed.
I also enjoyed it.
Good.
I also thrisely enjoyed it.
Good, we're off to a good start. So, my name is JD, and with me is my lovely co-hosts, plural, Kyle and Andy. Okay. See, I said you're both lovely this time.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, JD. Sometimes I just need that validation.
I know. I'll pat you on the back every opportunity I get. But, so yeah, for the first time in probably since Wreck-It Ralph, Disney has released an original story.
A non-princess-related story.
Right.
Christ. But they
Not that I
make
didn't.
A bunch of references to it.
Yeah, but the references were actually really funny.
Yeah. We'll get to that. So, just a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Overview
synopsis. Well, yeah, just to give you a little refresher here. There will be spoilers. This is a spoiler review, so heads up on that. But, so basically the conceit of this film is you have, this rabbit lady, Judy Hopps, who dreams of being a police officer, despite many people...
JD,
what?
You're dying here. Let me do this.
Fine!
Okay, so basically the plot of Zootopia is that animals have evolved. They've evolved to the point where predators and prey live in perfect harmony for the most part.
Only mammals evolved.
Yeah, I did have some questions about that, but we can touch on that later. I had a lot of weird theories asking some questions about this movie in particular. But
all right.
Basically what happened was the movie starts off by giving you kind of a brief history of where the world is at, where you learn that mammals have evolved. They all live in one beautiful city called Zootopia. And it's essentially where prey and predators all live together. Everyone is happy. There's no, lions aren't going around mauling, innocents. You have all sorts of animals that typically wouldn't be friends being friends and living in harmony. They're basically people at this point.
Woo!
And it's pretty cool. And, Judy Hopps is our primary protagonist, and she's this bright, young, wanna-be-a-do-gooder rabbit who dreams of becoming a police officer. And the interesting is that there's never been a rabbit police officer. And despite all these people telling her it'll never happen, never going to happen, she manages to overcome all odds and becomes a police officer. And this all happens within, the first 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean,
about 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it moves pretty quickly, and that's great. I love the pacing of this movie, personally.
So they just kind of throw you right into it.
Well, they because, they could have easily had, the first half of the movie being her getting her, becoming a cop, but they managed to tell it really quickly and really well in the beginning, so you get this really awesome train scene. Kyle, you were really fond of the train scene.
It was pretty beautiful, yo.
This is some of, I think, Disney's finest animation to date. In general, I think it trumps anything Pixar has done, not only because of the variety of, animals with different fur, different body types and shapes and stuff like that, but there's a scene in the beginning where Judy leaves her home. It was Bunny Burrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Population constantly skyrocketing. I thought the jokes about rabbits were pretty hilarious. But she leaves her family.
All 250 of your...
Yeah.
She had a shitload of...
I liked her parents. Her parents were really well casted.
Yeah.
But she goes to Zootopia, and what basically follows from there is she learns that Despite being the first rabbit, nobody cares. You know, she's still seen as a rabbit compared to the rest of the police force, which is, you know, elephants, tigers. Yeah, it's basically all the bigger animals. So it's all about her, you know, basically rising up. She gets this impossible case that she has to solve, and she ends up meeting Nick, the other protagonist of the movie, who I ended up really liking a lot more than I thought. I kind of thought he was going to be a typical smarmy sort of, you know, kind of one-note character, and he was actually really well done.
Yeah, Jason Bateman did some good work this time.
The character, the whole...
Go ahead.
I was going to say the character's plot, like, development was really well done. And what you get is basically this amazing team-up where they have to solve why certain animals seem to be going feral, for a better word. You know, they're reverting back to prey, or predators, reverting back to their state where they would go after prey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a deep plot, really, for, like, a kid's movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's as much of a synopsis as we really need.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
You just kind of learn about Zootopia and everything.
Yeah, and one good thing I want to kind of commend Disney on is that they kind of kept the plot, the bigger plot of this movie, kind of under wraps in any of the marketing. Because I'd seen trailers for this and I'm like, okay, Bunny must be a cop. There's something going on, but they never really specified what that was in the trailers. So I kind of went in, you know, not knowing what to expect. And in this day and age, I guess that's something I can appreciate.
I knew the whole story. Yeah,
well.
I knew the whole story because, I don't know, Disney always releases, like, golden books or whatever the fuck for kids, and it has the whole thing lined up.
Oh, I gotcha. It's like Zootopia, the novelization, but it's really just the kids' book version.
Yeah, it's like, but like not even a chapter book, like a picture book.
Yeah, like it
tells you everything.
I gotcha.
But yeah, I knew the whole thing basically.
Can't be as smart as you, Kyle.
The villain came out of left field, but
yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Lately, Disney's been like, here's the bad guy at the end, and it's really dumb. Like, they've been doing it since Wreck-It Ralph, since... Let me think here.
I think...
That it?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, because Wreck-It Ralph, like, you don't know that it's... I mean, they kind of, like, hint who the bad guy was going to be, kind of, but it does kind of jump out at the end. Big Hero 6, kinda. Frozen, definitely.
Frozen was really ham-fisted, just like...
Yeah. He's like, no.
Wasn't Frozen kind of just a ham-fisted movie in general?
Basically.
I'm just saying what everyone's thinking here.
Well, just to get it out of the way, is speaking of other Disney movies, one thing that this movie, Zootopia, really liked to do is kind of poke fun at not only Disney movies, but like at kind of popular culture in general.
Yeah.
they take a lot of stabs, not like mean-spirited stabs, but like just kind of jabs at Frozen. Because I love that there's like this line that Idris Elba's character, at somewhere towards the beginning of the movie, he basically tells Judy is like, this isn't like some big musical where everyone sings and all their problems are solved. And he's like, so I just advise you to let it go.
That was funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed the pot shots, because it really wasn't like a typical Disney movie in a sense.
No.
Like, I don't know, it was like it really was a cop drama.
Yeah.
It was a cop drama disguised as a furry, you know, kids movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, I didn't know much going into the movie, because I try not to really look too deep into it. I saw the Sloth trailer, which I thought was really funny. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I want to say something on that, just real quick. I kind of mentioned this to you guys before we started recording, but like when that scene came up, I everyone in the theater like just laughed like real hard. Like even though I'm sure most of the people, it was funny. I'm not gonna deny it was funny, but I think because they used that entire full scene as a trailer before, we've seen that entire scene play out time after time already. So I personally didn't find it like knee-slappingly funny as it was the first time. And I was kind of hoping that, like, when that... What?
I said blame marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been a marketing's problem. But I was just kind of hoping that, like, that scene was either kind of like a paraphrased version or was kind of more of a scene made up for the trailers rather than, like, a direct scene coming from the film.
I mean, unfortunately, that would have really kind of cut out of... I mean, if without that was actually kind of integral to the plot.
Like, I understand why it was there. Like Kyle said, it's probably a fault of marketing, but it just seems like
most things.
There's this good 3-minute scene of the film we've already seen, so it like almost blazed by when I saw it again. So like, I've already seen this, I know exactly what happens, but you know, that's marketing for you, showing you things you don't need to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, didn't How to Train Your Dragon suffer one of the worst cases of that, to where even the creators of the film like had to step in and be like, hey, don't watch this trailer because it's gonna ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, I didn't like knowing that was Hiccup's mom going in. That would have been a nice reveal.
It is?
Oh! Oh. But, where were we before I so rudely interrupted us?
Well, you were talking about the sloth scene, how they, you know, I forget what you were talking about with the sloth scene. Something stupid, I'm sure.
But, yeah, I think a lot of, like, I can't think of a really, like, weak character in this movie, unless, you know, either you can, but...
I loved everything about this movie. Like, I was really surprised when I went into it, because I didn't go into it knowing much. I mean, I know it's Disney, so it's obviously going to make a shitload of money regardless of...
Actually, at the time we were recording this, I read a news article yesterday saying it's already done, like, well above Frozen's opening week numbers.
That excites me to no end, because I like how this movie, so far at least, I mean, God only knows what the future holds, but so far it doesn't seem to have the same obnoxious fandom that Frozen had developed over time. Fandom. That's fine. You know what? I know we joked about the whole furry thing before, but I'd rather deal with furries because they're already there. I mean, the furries already exist. I don't know how to let you guys know this otherwise, but furries are around.
Mel and I were actually wondering how many furries were going to be born from this movie.
I mean, it doesn't help that, you know, Giselle, Shakira's character, she, you know, made a note to ask, like, hey, can you give her bigger hips?
Oh, God.
And I was like, thanks, Shakira. Nice going.
Man, that song is still stuck in my head.
I was actually kind of surprised at how catchy the song was. But, crap, what was I thinking? Oh, but I just like how, I don't know, Zootopia just, like, Frozen turned me off right away because it was another Disney princess movie. And I'm not saying that as a guy.
Like typical Disney fare.
It just looked like, okay, it's another Disney movie.
Well, to me, it just seemed so barren. Like, okay, there's 5 characters. Like, that's it.
Like Zootopia, there was like even the background characters. There were like you had a one-off character voiced by Tommy Chong. You had in one of the funniest scenes of the movie, in my opinion, the animal nudist colony.
Yeah.
Only way you'd be able to get away with that scene in a kids movie is by having them be animals.
I just love, because I watched this video. It's like a making of with the like directors or whatever, and they said they put that in because it's like as soon as you put clothes on animals, the concept of them being naked, you know, kind of translates to people being naked. So, Yeah, it's kind of weird to think about that. Like animals are already naked, so I don't know, but
One of I don't know. I'm almost like over. There's almost so much to talk about with this movie because I'm just like amazed at how fleshed out the world is in Zootopia. Like
yeah,
I love I love the different ecosystems that they had. Going back to that train scene in the beginning, they show you all because obviously different mammals. You have polar bears. You have all these different like ecosystems. You have a Sahara like place. You have a rainforest district. It was just really. It was like a video game almost, but it was just really well done.
But I love in that train scene where they're like going through the different environments. They also show you like how that environment is maintained.
Oh yeah,
so it's like they have giant heaters blasting into the Sahara part, or they have giant snow blowers going into the tundra.
Kyle's got something to say.
Oh, so my friend was saying that there weren't any birds or reptiles in there. I think we
touched on
that. But I distinctly remember seeing penguins in the fucking ice place. They were riding pieces of ice, almost like cars.
Yeah, but they don't fly, so it was easier to work them in.
Sounds about right.
It's like they can't fly, so we don't have to think too hard on this. But I don't blame them for that, really. I mean, they were already.
Yeah, the thing is like, anytime they would say. They'd mention like the people. They'd always like say mammal. They've never say. I don't think they didn't. They rarely would say animals. So it's very much like the mammals of, or the early ages were the ones that evolved rather than, reptiles or birds or fish or anything.
I was actually wondering, like, now I'll say that for after we talk about it because it's a whole other weird tangent.
Okay.
Well, I went and saw it with my friend, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know otters are mammal or like carnivores."
Okay.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
and
we were
curious
about that
too.
Oh yeah, they eat other animals.
I like quickly Googled the image, and they have like fucking sharp ass teeth. But I think that was it was a good way to show here you have something really cuddly. And then it can turn savage, like, no problem. Like, I thought that was a good way to show that.
I'm just really amazed at how smart the movie was overall.
Fucking Ned Flanders otter.
Flanders.
Okay, so someone brought this up to me, and I don't know if you guys knew this. Do you guys, know what Emmett Otter is, like that old Muppet special?
Yeah.
Like, the otter in the movie, his name is Emmett Otterton.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if that was a slight little because Disney owns Jim Henson, right?
They own the Muppets, so they can make that.
So I mean that seems like a delightful little sort of nod.
Well, I'm not really into Frozen or anything, but the weasel dude was a direct reference from Frozen.
Oh yeah, because they call him Wesselton. He's like, no, it's Weaselton.
Yeah,
it's like the reverse joke. Yeah, and I love this. I love the scene with. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, his name was Duke Weaselton, and in Frozen, it's the Duke of Weaselton. Something dumb like that.
Yeah, and I love the scene with him like later in the film where they meet up with him again, and he's like selling bootleg DVDs on the street.
Well, yeah, a lot of those bootlegs, Zootopia would put those on Twitter because they had one for Mad Max. It was Mad Yak. I enjoyed all the little.
It was funny because he was like, I got new movies, and it showed Tangled, Big Hero 6, and Frozen. And he's like, I got movies that aren't even out yet.
Yeah.
So he's got one for Frozen 2, Moana, and Gigantic.
What was Frozen called though?
God, what was Frozen called?
I didn't catch any of the animal pun names that they changed them to.
I know they. Yeah.
It was a horse, and it was called Wrangled.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like that movie Rango?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
I passed on seeing it. I'm kind of mad I did.
Rango's a good movie, especially if you're into westerns.
So yeah, I'll probably have to fix that.
But okay, and I guess this kind of gets towards the end. But I love how like the last third of this movie is basically one big reference to Breaking Bad.
Oh, I loved that. Like, and it's funny, I didn't even catch it at first. I felt really bad as like a big fan of Breaking Bad. I didn't like catch the.
I just thought it was funny because like
not necessarily.
Basically towards the end of the movie, they find out that like there's this serum made from this special flower that is causing these animals to go savage. So Judy and Nick track down the person like making this stuff, and he's making it in a subway car underground, and like
in a hazmat suit.
In a hazmat suit, and it's like, oh, that's funny. It's probably a Breaking Bad reference. And then he calls out to his associates called Walter and Jesse.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys.
It was smart, and it wasn't like overbearing. Like it wasn't one of those really obnoxious like references. Like, get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just there that like the parents who watch Breaking Bad are gonna get it and find it funny, but the little kids it's gonna pass right over them and they're not gonna think anything of it.
Which is
there
probably
was
good.
Blue color too.
Oh yeah, that's right, blue.
Which was nice, but yeah, it's kind of funny that they kind of snuck that in there.
Yeah, I'm really impressed at all like the adult level humor that they kind of like snuck into the movie. I know Disney movies have always had like that going for them, but for something about Zootopia just seemed kind of surprising for the most part because it was like
I think we kind of touched on that earlier, but I'm actually really kind of glad that this movie doesn't really pander to kids, and I guess like one of the like biggest themes in the movie is actually it tackles the concept of like racism and it's like pretty maturely, actually.
That's something that kind of blew my mind in this movie is, like, halfway through the movie, I, like, leaned over to my friend. I'm like, I never thought I'd learn about class warfare and, like, discrimination in a kid's movie about talking animals.
Didn't they do that with Black Sad?
Oh, well, yeah, but that's Black Sad. That's meant to be, that's meant to be, like, a mature adult comic because that touches on racism in a pretty, and also has, like, the KKK in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Black Sad, which, I mean, if you guys haven't read, I mean, you really should fucking read because it's one of my favorite things ever.
Well, Andy recommended it to me a while back, and it really is good, but I got a lot of Black Sad vibes from the movie.
I, too, also, and I think maybe that's why I kind of loved it, because for anyone who hasn't read Black Sad or checked it out, but it's this amazing little series of comics. I can't remember the guy's name, unfortunately, but he was like an ex-Disney animator, I believe. And it's basically about a detective cat, and it's like very similar to Zootopia. It takes place in this world where animals have evolved into basically people. And much like Zootopia, it kind of touches, it's a very mature, well, I mean, it's obviously a huge step above Zootopia, but it touches on a lot of mature themes like racism and everything like that. And it's like, I kind of really hope that Zootopia does well enough to where maybe Disney will get ballsy enough to consider a Black Sad movie. Because I would fucking throw all my money at that. But yeah, like I was really kind of shocked because on the surface, yeah, it's a fun kids movie. Kids loved it. Like I was in a packed theater with a bunch of kids, and because me and my girlfriend went on a date with a few other friends of ours because we were interested in the movie. And, you know, they were laughing at the jokes and all the crazy stuff that was happening. And then I'm just, like I said, I'm just watching it going like, man, they just touched on racism. And it was just, like, surprising to me, like, wow, they didn't sugarcoat that at all. That was pretty
not at all. Kyle, were you trying to say something?
No.
Oh. But, yeah, it's interesting how they tackle that.
It's a surprisingly smart movie. That is the one thing I cannot say enough about it.
And it's really refreshing to get that from Disney because, well, like we were kind of saying, like Disney has kind of been feeling stale the last couple of years. For a long time to be perfectly honest. So it's. Yeah, I mean, Wreck-It Ralph was pretty good. I really enjoy Wreck-It Ralph, and Big Hero 6 was okay.
I was
But,
not a fan of Wreck-It Ralph, personally.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know.
But,
Like, all their movies kind of seem to be following the same trend, I guess, would be one way I'd say it. But I don't know. Zootopia just seemed to have, like, I really liked the world building in Zootopia.
Yeah, this world is, like, full to the brim of just little things. They're, like, it's so intricately designed how the entire world is built for big animals and small animals. They've got there's like an entire little town just for mice, and they walk around in little hamster tubes.
Oh, that scene was hilarious.
But it's such an original concept, at least for Disney, and I can really appreciate them taking a chance on a story like this, and taking a chance, kind of not doing so many of the jokes, and kind of, you know, trusting its audience enough that it can handle heavy concepts but still be invested in it.
I mean, I don't know, like, the movie was really funny to me. There were parts where, like, the whole Godfather riff had me laughing. Like, me and my one friend, we couldn't stop. That's because I can always appreciate a good Brando reference. And this one was pretty,
That was
spot
Maurice
on.
LaMarche, as I found out.
I thought that was funny towards the end, because I know I was keeping an eye out, like, okay, who did Mr. Big? I gotta, none other than Maurice LaMarche. I think the voice cast in this movie was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I know John DiMaggio was in it.
Yeah, John DiMaggio was in there.
He was the goat. The Rams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you have Idris Elba as the police chief.
Yeah, one of my favorite characters in the movie, Chief Bogo.
Yeah, and you got J.K. Simmons as the mayor. Okay, we were trying to figure this out. Who voices the lamb?
You know what?
Assistant mayor.
I just looked all that up today, and I completely forgot, but I loved her voice.
I think she's... did either of you guys watch Parks and Recreation?
I started it, meant to continue it,
but...
I
guess I could just look this up, but I think she's John Ralphio's sister. And I think she's on Star vs. the Forces of Evil, too, so, I mean, you got that Disney crossover. But, yeah, the voice cast is, like, not huge name celebrities, so it's not distracting. Yeah, and being a fan of Arrested Development, I can appreciate that they got Jason Bateman to be a main role.
And he was really good. Like, I didn't know I thought the whole movie was going to basically be about, you know, Judy Hopps being the super cop. But they really did just an amazing job humanizing, like, everybody in this movie. I was really happy to find out, well, I guess spoilers, but I was really happy to see that, you know, J.K. Simmons wasn't the bad guy. The twist of the movie, like, really, like, got me. I wasn't like, oh, it's going to be the mayor.
Yeah, I get kind of was saying, like, how the villain kind of comes out of left field, and I agree with that. But, like you, Andy, I was kind of half expecting that, like, even though they caught the mayor, like...
The movie wasn't over. I mean...
Yeah, it's like, movie was over. It's like, there's gotta be a way to work him in as the bad guy. He has to be the bad guy. And then the little assistant mayor, Lamb... lady turns out to be...
It's so obvious afterwards, because you see she's getting bullied by the lion and shit like that. It's all calling and stuff.
See, I guess it's true, because it does seem kind of left field, but it's kind of like in Wreck-It Ralph, where it's like, there's enough foreshadowing-ish that, like, once you know that that's what it is, it kind of makes sense in retrospect.
I mean, I kind of figured the mayor was going to be the villain. Or not, I mean, not the mayor. Like, I kind of figured that, what was his name, King Candy or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of figured he was going to be the villain. I didn't think it was, you know, I didn't account for his backstory, obviously, because that was actually kind of a really good backstory. But I'm thinking to myself, like, well, who the hell else is going to be the villain?
Right.
But Zootopia really kind of, and I don't know if that's because I was also just so enamored with everything going on, because the movie moves at a really, like, good pace. Like, it doesn't get bogged down in a lot of silliness.
I mean, yeah. And I think even though the villain kind of comes out of nowhere, and, like, with her motivations, it kind of does, like, a parallel with kind of what's going on right now in
I kinda
where it's like a lot of bad things are being doing in assumingly good reasons, but it's being done out of a place of fear.
They said, the Lion says it himself. He says, like, doing bad for all the good reasons.
Right.
And once again, it's a much smarter movie than I would have thought going into it. I thought it was going to be a fun, I thought it was going to be well animated, which it really was. The movie's a treat to look at. I kind of want the art book of it because I love all the character. All the character designs are top quality.
They're doing a signing for the art book this weekend, and I'm planning on going.
Well, that must be nice if you live in California.
Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
But no, man, I would love to see the concept art just to like see how they built that world.
Apparently, the fox was supposed to be the main character, from what I've read, and then they thought it wouldn't be too, I don't know, something happened, and they're like, we'll just make the rabbit. So
I think that was a good shot. I think had the movie focused on Nick, it wouldn't be like nearly as interesting.
Now, what a lot of people were mad on 4chan, which I can kind of agree, is if you look at the concept artwork, he dresses a lot differently. And they think that Lasseter had a hand in it because he's wearing like a dumb, goofy Hawaiian shirt, and they think that was Lasseter's hand in it, and it probably was.
I wouldn't doubt it. Lasseter loves his Hawaiian shirts.
I could see Nick wearing a Hawaiian shirt and making it work for him. But
I mean, it does work for him.
I mean, I don't know. With the whole noir vibe the movie really kind of had going for it, it wouldn't have been that out of place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically, it was a detective movie disguised as a kid's movie.
Yeah. And, I mean, like we were saying, this movie's been doing really great at the box office. I mean, the first night I went, it was sold out, and the second, when we went the next night, the theater was packed, so,
Yeah, actually really...
It's really resonating with audiences, and I'm happy to see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, after Frozen Mania, of course, everyone was wondering, like, well, what movie can
how possibly... How are they going to top it?
Yeah, how are they going to top it? Well, the answer is, Zootopia. Cater to furries. But despite all the jokes and everything, I mean, the movie is wonderful. I know I feel like we kind of meandered a bit with this review, but there really is so much going on in this movie, and it much kind of like, once again, I know I would never shut up about Mad Max, but kind of like how Mad Max was such an insane movie in the sense of all the things going on. Much like Mad Max, Zootopia manages to kind of keep everything together.
Yeah, like it flows well.
It never gets bogged down in too many ideas or too many like stories or plot lines that don't get resolved. Like, it feels like every character, because I was kind of worried that upon learning that Judy was the main character, I was kind of thinking like, oh, well, Nick's probably going to get relegated to being, a joke character, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Like, he was actually, he didn't steal the show, but he was just as important a character as Judy was.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you sound so sad, JD?
No, I was agreeing with you. You made a very good point.
I mean, I would love to see, just under the closing note, I would love to see more of Zootopia, and I was thinking it'd be hilarious if they made like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine style.
Well, I mean, Big Hero 6 is getting a show. Why not give Zootopia one too?
I would love to see a Zootopia show where it's basically all focused on the precinct. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, they ended the film with Nick becoming a cop, so I mean, that is rife with plot potential.
And I loved the final joke of the movie.
Yeah,
they just had to bring the sloth around one more time.
Come on, the sloth is what drew people in.
No, I'm not. I don't think I like the sloth. I think it is a funny concept.
I just love it ended on like a classic freeze frame from like an 80s cop show.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a cop show disguised as a kids movie. It was like a lighthearted kids movie, and it was amazing.
It was great.
So I don't know if we have like a score system or something, but Zootopia gets a definite recommend from me. Go see
We
it.
really should
Take
come
your
up,
kids.
we should come up with a... Yeah.
Go see it. Take your kids. If they end up as furries, hey, it's worth it because the movie's that good. And
Love your furry children.
being a furry isn't the worst possible thing in the world. I mean, if they start making Sonic OCs, yeah,
Wanting to bone ponies.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about ponies with you, JD.
All right. Well,
Jokes!
do you guys have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here?
I'm
Kyle.
just happy to see a non-Disney princess movie doing so well.
Here. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to our review. We will. God, why am I have so many brain parts today? All right. In the description, there are links to our Facebook page where we post animation news almost every day. So go on there, give us a like, talk with us. You know, we like to talk with our fans. There's also links to our personal pages if you want to follow us there. So if we don't have anything else, I guess we'll catch you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Is that Mr. Big? Stop talking. Huh. Awesome.
Daddy! What did we say? No icing anyone at my wedding!
I have to, baby. Daddy has to.